Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cup of Joe with Joe and Joe podcast. I am your host, Joe, and with me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Joe.
I don't drink for me. I drink for you, everybody. Always remember that.
Wonderful. I don't know if anyone will forget that after all that.
It's for the cast, not for me.
It's for the cast. It's not like the branding of this entire thing is that there's just the two of us or anything like that.
No. It's not even like I have to. Nobody's holding me accountable, but I just hold myself to a high standard for everybody.
Yes, as you should. Or don't. I'm not your mother. Do what you want. Anyway, Joe, we're talking about anime today, and so we've been through a couple of different. We've been through some highs and lows recently. All right, we had Gurren Lagann a couple weeks ago, which was, good God, it's Gurren Lagann. Must I say any more? Then we had Yasuke, which was.
Good God. May we say any more?
God, can we say any more? Perfect. Very good. Exactly. Very good what you said. I'm not saying very good. I'm not saying very bad. I'm not saying anything to Yasuke. It's very bad. But now, we're back to we've got 3 parts for you guys coming on up. We got part 1 today, episode 1 through 8 of Jujutsu Kaisen. And then, the following weeks we'll have part 2 and then part 3 and then Yahatasa and then move on to the next thing. But, so, we're here today to talk about the first 8 episodes of Jujutsu Kaisen. So, Joe, I just want to say, after last week's chef, it was so refreshing going into this show.
I completely agree. I completely forgot that this was a show that we wanted to watch. I looked at my list and I was like, Kill la Kill seems pretty cool. Why don't we watch that? And Joe's like, no. Remember Jujutsu Kaisen? And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot all about that. We gotta watch it. And crazy enough, a friend of ours started watching it on the same day I did, which, with no comment, he just was like, hey, yo, man, you watching Jujutsu Kaisen? You ever check that show out? And I was like, boy, I just started today. And we got a lot to talk about. I think Joe and I had a bit of a role reversal on with this show because normally we do these whole episodes, episode 1 through 8, 9 through 16, yada yada, go, and usually me, I'm like, okay, I got time to watch one episode today, okay, I watch one episode every day. By the end of the week, I'm at the point. And Joe is usually like, I finished the show in 2 days. Let's just talk about the whole thing. So we had a bit of a reverse. I'm done. I mean, I'm already part of the club. I got a Jujutsu Kaisen tattoo on me. I'm part of the threads. I'm part of all the Discord and Reddit chats. I'm a part of the culture now. Joe's like, what's the exchange event? This seems interesting. And I'm like, boy, where you been?
I still haven't gotten to the exchange event yet. But that's neither here nor there. Today, we're just talking about the first 8 episodes. So if you're here for just that, good. If you want more, be patient. All right? Shut the fuck up. Be patient.
We're listening to my solo podcast, A Cup of Joe with just one Joe, coming out shortly. It's not happening. I don't know. I mean, you can call me. We can talk about these things. I don't have social media anymore. I like talking about anime. Find me. Do the work. Come on. You got to work for me. I'm not easy to get.
All right. Well,
let me talk about this shit.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I had no clue what the fuck this show was going to be. All I know is the little amount of time that I am part of the anime world. Since I no longer have the social media. Yes, that's probably the 20th time I've said that here, but get used to it, bitches. It's I'm not too connected. I'm not too hip anymore. But I heard some stuff going around that damn, this Jujutsu Kaisen show is pretty popular, and I'm like, And Joe talked about it. Seemed it was pretty popular. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. So all I knew about it is I know there's this dude that has a blindfold on. He kind of looks like Kakashi, but okay, don't really know much about it. And so this is what I gotta say. This is the amalgamation. If you took Bleach and you took Naruto and you took a little spice of Tokyo Ghoul, you have this baby. It wears its influences on its sleeves very proudly. And for some, i.e., my friend Paul, it doesn't. He's a little butthurt by it. You know, he's a big Naruto fan. He's like, oh my god, they're just copying Naruto. Shut up, Paul. Get out of here. They're not. It's a fusion.
We're being so rude today. We're being very rude.
I defend things that I love, Joe, and that I protect. Okay?
Understandable.
And I protect Fushiguro. You do not fuck with my boy. Oh, my God. Normally, I'm a best girl type of guy, but damn it, I'm protecting Fushiguro. That man is a badass.
Oh,
so,
God.
Yeah, this thing is the shonen of all shonens. And, Joe, I know you've watched Bleach before. So
A little bit, like 1 or 2.
Okay. We're not talking about this. We're talking about the first eight episodes, and we're going to go through those episodes. But I want to talk about the first 8 episodes. Will leave you. You get the tone of it by the first 8 episodes. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's pretty obvious the influences. Would you agree?
Yes, especially since there is a scene in one of these 8 episodes where a character literally falls over and a couple different items flash in like a chibi style, though in no particular order, being like a Rasengan from Naruto, Ichigo's Zanpakuto from Bleach. Mm-hmm. I think something from One Piece flashes by there. It might have been the Straw Hat. I can't remember, and a couple of other things. But it's very much like. It knows what it is, and it's not a shame that it is an amalgamation of all these very popular, very successful things.
Yes. He, freaking Itadori, he even says, "Oh wait, I can achieve Bankai."
yeah, that's right.
Okay. So it's aware of all these influences, and so, Joe, you've seen Bleach, and the Bleach influence is definitely strong here. So instead of hollows, we have curses. Which, very similar vibe. I'd say even in their appearance, a little different background where it's like, oh, these aren't in Bleach. Hollows are lost souls that are kind of like they haven't been sent to heaven yet, i.e. the Soul Society. While curses, they form from negative emotions and just bad juju. Bad juju. Yeah.
Kaisen.
Yes. Exactly. So, that's somewhat of a connection. And the I'd say, okay. Let's start with Yuji Itadori. Joe. You know, we got the spiky hair. You gotta have it. It's shonen. But it's not yellow. It's not orange. It's pink, baby. And I love it.
Yeah, I definitely do like that. However, I do have a comment about hair in this show, and that's being like all the guys, or most of the guys, at least in the first 8 episode, have like the same kind of hairstyle where it's just spiked up on like the top part of their head. I'm just like, what's with this? Like the mangaka who made this must have been like, this is the fucking sickest hairstyle of all goddamn time. Look at this shit. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's literally the same style, just at different lengths.
Yeah.
Very reminiscent of Ichigo. But, so this is the thing.
But this guy smiles way more than Ichigo.
Yes. So, and also Itadori's kind of conviction, his desire to save people and protect people. That's his main goal. That aligns with Ichigo, right? That's Ichigo's main, desire. And also the way that Itadori gains his powers, which we will get to, is very similar to how Ichigo does it. He has to make a sacrifice in order to protect people in general, right? Okay, thematically similar to Bleach. Naruto, the frickin' hand things. Yes, I know. The school, the different cults and families. Gojo's Kakashi. He's Kakashi. Don't at me. Actually, at me. Talk to
Gojo.
me.
Gojo, I think, is a combination of both Kakashi and Urahara. I think if you took
Mm.
those two and polymerized them a little bit, that's kind of what you would get right there.
Yes, 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 exactly. And then the other Naruto stuff is the Naruto stuff kind of happens later on, which I won't get to. What happens with like the sister school exchange event, but we'll get to that later when we get to those episodes. Whatever, whatever. But Naruto very much influenced to that. So when we're looking at story and characters, you're like, holy shit, it's Bleach meets Naruto. But if you were listening closely at the beginning, I mentioned Tokyo Ghoul. Joseph Gaeta. Have you ever seen Tokyo
Yes.
Ghoul? You
Not
have?
one bit. No. I said
Oh,
no, not one bit.
I'm sorry, we were cut off. The timing. Oh, internet man, am I right? That just ruined the moment. Okay, so you've never
You
seen Tokyo
sounded
Ghoul.
so eager. You were just like, oh, really? I was like, no.
Okay. So you've never seen Tokyo Ghoul.
No.
Just watch the freaking. Just look up images of Tokyo Ghoul and watch the intro to Tokyo Ghoul. The way that these characters are dressed and the I'm trying to say not the theme, but like just the overall aesthetic of the show. Like the visuals,
Okay.
the music, the action is literally it's Tokyo Ghoul. It's literally freaking the gore. There's not much gore in Bleach and Naruto, but in Tokyo Ghoul there's a shit ton of gore, and in this there's a good amount of gore. So it's like a sprinkle of Tokyo Ghoul. It's like, okay, we're gonna give you two of the classics, and we're gonna take one of the modern ones and take what was good from that, because Tokyo Ghoul went down the drain very fast, ladies and gentlemen. If you know what I'm talking about, hit me with that thumbs up, ladies. I know it. I was into it, but hey, it happened. So that's where we're at. We're at the Shonen baby. Jesus has arrived, ladies and gentlemen. It's here,
Jesus
the
Christ.
second coming, and ladies and gentlemen, his name is Gojo.
The most attractive anime character since, I don't know, and insert whatever here. Yes. There's a lot of stuff to get through with all this, so, but
Do we
to
want
try and
I was gonna say, do we want to go through the episodes now? I know I kind of gave a preamble of just a general view of what we're getting into, but we we haven't even.
what we're getting into when we're like 10 minutes into this already. But yeah, I'd say let's actually start going through some of this stuff like in a more concrete way. And I want to start where all good anime do start, the opening. Joe, I have been listening to not only the opening but also the ending songs.
The ending's
I've added
awesome!
them to my Spotify playlist.
Yes,
they are
yes,
immaculate.
yes. Hell
Lost in
fucking
Paradise
yes.
is the ending. What's the I don't know the title of the first one because it's
I don't.
Japanese
Okay.
characters.
Okay. Not only is the song fucking killer, I like the song of the ending better.
Yes, me too. I love that. I
But the
love it so
visuals,
much.
man, the fucking visuals, like the visuals of the beginning really get you hype. It's fucking cool.
Yes.
It's intense. It's emotional, and then the ending is so fucking fun and cool. Oh my god, seeing the different styles of them dancing. I love Gojo's dance and his style with the glasses.
It's just
Oh my
swagger
god.
walking
I
in
know,
through the
I
door and
know.
just waving his hand around. I'm like, that's so Gojo. Like it captures the spirit of all these characters so well. Like the fact that Fushiguro doesn't move like at all. He just kind of like walks in and he's just stoic. You're just like, hey Sasuke, and then you've got Yuchu comes in and he's just like all over the place and he's super excited all the time. I'm just like, this is so funny. The only person that I haven't made the direct connection to is Nobara, but that's because in these first 8 episodes, you don't really get a lot of Nobara. You just get like, I think you get maybe like 2 or 3 episodes with her, and then she's like a background character for like a lot of the first third of this show. But from the outro, she looks like she's having just a blast, and she looks so lovely and just like happy. I'm just like, that's not the show you. What the fuck is this?
Yeah. I completely felt the same way.
Past
So, yes.
tense. Interesting.
So, yeah, intro, outro, awesome. Between the not just the visuals, but also the actual songs, they're banging. Lost in
Lost
Paradise.
in Paradise.
And also, Joe, did you know this was going to be a dub?
I knew it was going to be a dub because most anime that's popular gets a dub at some point. I just didn't realize it would be so g dang fast.
Right? I was shocked. I like went on to the HBO Max thing and I put it on. I was like, what the fuck? They have a dub already? Like, I was a little confused. I was like, wait a minute. Is this one of those shows that like was released a while ago and then out of nowhere it just got popular? But no, I did a little research.
Nah.
The last episode didn't finish till like a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yep. Yeah, it just wrapped up a little while ago. So this is again one of the most topical things we've done since friggin' Attack on Titan a couple months ago. It's been a couple months. Jesus Christ.
Man, oh man, oh man. 6 more months to December, man. 6 more months. Almost there. Okay.
Oh, that's right, because it's coming back.
Yes.
Oh my God! Don't get me excited like that, show.
So,
Jujutsu Kaisen.
we have what we have here is an amalgamation of very popular shonens. We have a great intro and outro. We have a show that is current. It's happening. It's popular. It is hip.
It's
And
hit, baby.
it's a dub. It is a dub. When something's getting dubbed this fast, you know something's in the water. And our boys over at MAPPA are making this shit look hella clean.
They're fucking killing it. Oh my God, does this show look so goddamn clean?
Oh my god. Great. Not just and it's not just like the good animation, it's the art style of this show. It's shonen, but it's a little stylized. I'd say specifically with like the cursed energy. I gotta say, I'm a big fan of the way cursed
It's
energy
so
looks.
cool.
Oh my god,
It
great,
looks so great. The
great
insane
color.
ink lines going every. It's I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's some sort of brush kind of technique that it looks like. I did some of it in a drawing class back in one of my drawing classes. I don't know what it was, but like we used like a Japanese style ink brush, and I saw it and I was like, oh, but that's the thing. I did that at one point, except this looks way cooler and it's like neon blue and looks awesome.
Yes. Now, Joe, tell me about this first episode. I want to hear it from you because
All right.
I've been talking. I've been
Right.
Go.
All right, here we go. So you start off, I titled it, by the way, Eat the Finger. So you start off, you meet up with Yuji Itadori. He's the main guy, pink hair, all spiky and shit. He's just kind of going around. He's got a wise, angry grandpa. He Uncle Ben's the hell out of there, like, real quick. Like, he's just there to be like, hey, don't waste your life, kid. And then he fucking dies, and Yuji's just like, oh no, sad. And that's when you're introduced to curses, which I also have our equivalent to the hollows, obviously. And then Yuji, who has met up at this point with Fushiguro, because Fushiguro has been tracking a cursed object that is in Yuji's possession. And this cursed object just so happens to be a severed finger. Of who, you might ask? Just like the Demon King of all Demon Kings, Sukuna. Who's Sukuna? He's the Demon King. Were you not fucking listening? Pay attention. But so the problem is there's a cursed spirit attacking Yuji's friends, and Fushiguro doesn't exactly have the strength to stop it. Yuji, however, without any technique, just fucking busts in there and is all like, I'm gonna beat the living shit out of you when he tries to stop the curse. Fushiguro is like, dude, you gotta fucking stop, man. And he explained to him at one point, he's like, yeah, if someone eats this finger, like their cursed energy powers will go like way through the roof, but like no one should do that because it'll also probably kill them. And so Yuji just so happens to find himself in a situation where he's like, well, it's I eat the finger or I fucking die. So he eats the finger, and because he's some sort of like insanely strong kid, he's able to, absorb the finger, and he becomes the vessel for Sukuna. So basically, you got another Naruto parallel where we have an evil spirit living inside of him, and then it's akin to the Nine-Tails Fox with Naruto and all that sort of crap. And so that's pretty much where that episode ends off, because you've got Sukuna who's like in his body now, and he's like, I am reborn, and Fushiguro is just like, oh shit.
Very good. I like it. That's pretty much what I have. And then, in episode 2 is where Gojo shows up and kicks. I believe, does he kick the ass out of the curse, or does he kick the ass out of Sukuna?
I think he kicks the ass of Sukuna because at that point he's still in control and trying to use Yuji's body. And I also just have next to that just like the fucking fight choreography of that scene. It's so good.
Yes.
It's so good.
Fighting in this show, amazing. It's borderline dancing.
It really is, and it just looks great every single time. Pretty much any fight that you get in this show, it's gonna look goddamn impeccable.
Yeah, okay. And so, also, in the first episode, it starts in media res with Gojo pretty much talking to Itadori and being like, look, you're gonna die right now, okay? This is your death penalty. Anything you want to say? And in episode 2, we pick up kind of like now real time. He's like, yeah, so that's what happened, so I have to kill you. And Itadori's like, oh, come on, man. He's like, well, actually, let me explain what's happening. So you're like the first person ever who has eaten Sukuna's finger and hasn't like exploded. So really, I'm supposed to kill you. But this is a very unique opportunity, and I like fucking with old people. So this is my plan. You're gonna die no matter what, right? This is your option. You can either die right now, fine, no big deal, or we can have you eat all the fingers. And Itadori's like, oh, like 10 of them, or no, he's like all 20 fingers. He's like, oh, what, fingers and toes? He's like, no, the guy had 4 arms. And Itadori's like, okay, yeah, makes sense. And he's like, so you're gonna eat all 20 of them, and then we'll kill you, and that way Sukuna will die as well. And Itadori's like, yeah, cool deal, man. And Gojo's like, awesome, I'm a genius.
He really just likes fucking around with authority just as much as he can. He's like, yeah, fuck those guys, let's do our own thing. So then we get on to whatchamacallit, episode 2. No, we were just on episode 2, episode 3, which is where we get the whatchamacallit. I title this one Field Test because this was when, yes, they go to the abandoned house and they have their field test, but this is also where we're introduced to Nobara. I'm pronouncing that correct?
Yes.
Nobara.
Yes.
Nobara.
Yes.
Yeah.
So at the end of episode 2, they start school at Jujutsu Tech, which is the school in Tokyo that teaches Jujutsu sorcerers. And it's a front of like a really like religious school or whatever. There's one in Tokyo and one in Kyoto, I believe.
Yes.
And Gojo's like, all right, well, Itadori, you're gonna come to the school and I'm gonna teach you how to use your powers. And he's like, okay, cool. And it's a pretty cool ending. You meet the principal. He has to have a meeting with the principal. He ends up having this meeting with the principal, talking about why you want to become a sorcerer. The principal's name is Yaga. Pretty cool dude. And he like creates another Bleach kind of pan over is he makes these like cursed puppets, which it's basically Kon from Bleach. It literally looks, the bear looks exactly like him, but it's green. Come on, guys. I mean, whatever. And eventually you find out Itadori's resolve about like, I want to save people, I want to protect people. And Yaga's like, okay, you're in. Show him his room. Mm-hmm. And in episode 3, they have to go pick up the third student, who is Nobara, and she is a tough bitch.
And I also love the fact that she introduces herself by saying, I'm your group's girl. Like, literally stating the cliche of the two guys and the girl. As all, it's the same, again, the Danny Phantom thing, it's the Naruto thing, it's the Bleach. Well, the Bleach thing is a little bit different because it's got, like, 3 guys and a girl, with, like, Chad, Uryu, Ichigo, and, whatchamacallit, Big Tits. What's her name?
Orihime.
Orihime, there we go. I feel that was rude. I'm sorry, Orihime.
It wasn't rude. It's I mean, look, man, we can talk about
immediately
this more.
Apologizing.
We can talk about this more on the hentai server if you want it after this. It's part of the job.
Hentai server. Anyway, so Nobara shows up and literally states the cliche, and we get to see Nobara and Yuji in action, trying to save a little boy from a curse that's kind of like inhabiting this abandoned warehouse or whatever. And you see that Nobara has like this cool like hammer and nails kind of technique with her curse technique. That's what they're called. And she just like smacks them into the mannequin. The mannequin like explodes or whatever. And you're just like, whoa, that's kind of cool. But then when it actually comes to saving the little boy, she kind of freezes up because she's like, all right, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? Because this curse is going to kill the boy, but I need to stop the curse, whatever. And then you just see a fist pop through the wall behind the curse. And the curse is like, what the fuck? Everyone in the room is like, what the hell? Because when you're watching like a shonen battle anime, like you don't really blink whenever you see someone punch through something. Like that's not that big of a deal. But the thing is, Yuji's just able to do this as a base guy. Like he's not using techniques, and so that's what's kind of confusing everyone. They're like, "Wait a minute, you can just do that?" And he's like, "Yeah." Like I know it's a little weird, but it's like I don't know, I've just always been able to do it, and everyone's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" But so basically, Yuji just busts through this wall and stuns this thing, like this curse, so bad. He's just like, "What is happening?" And then he just like uses his what's he got? He got like a freaking like a what is it? A knife or like a mini sword?
It's like a sword
imbued with cursed energy. Yeah, and he uses it to chop off one part of this curse, and he saves the little boy. And he's just like, all right, curse, fuck you, and they kill the curse together. And it's just like, oh, all right.
Yeah, Nobara has a pretty cool technique. She ends up killing the curse using like a voodoo doll, where she puts the voodoo doll on top of a part of the actual curse, and then whatever she does to the voodoo doll through that part of the curse happens to the actual main body of the curse, which I think is badass. I think it's fucking cool. So basically,
and should be used a lot more in the future because that's awesome.
yes. So basically, this is Nobara's backstory. Kind of like she gets entered in. We get a little bit of like description of like her thinking about her past, and she's talking to someone, and we don't really know. It doesn't get too much clarification, but a little bit of backstory on her. But the episode ends with something happening at a jail. And there's this weird thing floating in the sky, and they call it a cursed womb. And it looks like this big ball with a fetus in it, and it looks pretty dark to me.
Which then brings us into episode 4.
Joe?
Where that fetus, yeah?
I just realized something, and I feel like I should have texted you this. Did you watch the after credit scenes?
There were after credit scenes?
Joe!
I would watch through them all, and I get to the part, and then it just give me like some weird chibi looking thing, and then the screen just went black, and I was like, oh, okay, and then I would move on to the next thing.
Interesting.
I didn't know there were after credit scenes.
Yes, maybe it didn't happen till the later. I don't know, but yes, there are. It's called Juju Stroll. Okay, Joe, go back and look at those. Look them up on YouTube. Look
Okay,
up just like
I'll have
all.
to do that, yeah.
Okay. Because I don't know why. Because I think it was for this one. There was one, or maybe I'm just going crazy. But there was after credit scenes that I recommend you watch. Some of them are pretty hilarious. So special 4, episode 4, the cursed womb is floating above the jail, and shit goes bad, and they're like, okay, you first years, you have to handle it because Gojo's away and everybody else is busy, so go in. And Fushiguro's like, I don't like the feel of this, man. And he's like, yeah, if there's a special grade in there, you can't engage, you just gotta run. And he's like, what the fuck, there could be a special grade? And lo and behold, there's a special grade curse, which I'm not sure if it's in this first 8 episodes that they explain the level of curses, but basically
They do. I think it's in this episode that they explain it to Yuji.
oh yeah, they're like a special grade, good luck destroying it with like a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, exactly.
So they go in, and originally there was this woman who's like, oh, you have to save my son or whatever, and Yuji's like, okay, I'm gonna save him. And they get in there, and Fushiguro is the most experienced out of all 3 of them, and he realizes how fucked it is. He's like, oh my god. He goes, this is an incomplete domain. And you're like, domain? What does that mean? Interesting. And they're walking around, and I think this is the first time Fushiguro does his demon dogs, maybe. Maybe it's not the first time.
Second time. He did it in the first episode, but this is the first time you see him do that along with a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, so Demon dogs, fucking awesome. Love them. Fushiguro, best boy. Um, and one thing comes to another. They're walking, and they encounter the special grade. And holy shit, Joe, I love this special grade. I love the freaking design of him.
Its design is so cool. It pains me that it was only used for like 2 episodes. It's such a cool looking thing.
Yeah, it's badass, and it's a fucking intense episode. I don't have too much written down for this besides like I really liked this episode and I loved the special grade. There's the fight between basically something happens to Nobara where she gets taken away and Fushiguro has to go find her, so he runs away trying to find her, and Itadori's like, look, man, once you get Nobara and you guys get out of here, give me a signal, and I will bring out Sukuna, and Sukuna will take this guy on. But in the meantime, Itadori has to try and take this freaking special grade on, and he tries to attack it with the sword, freaking chops his hand off, and he's still...
Skywalkered.
Yeah, and he's still trying to fight. Freaking the special grade uses like a Kamehameha, and Yuji's like trying to just hold it back with his pure willpower, and its fingers are starting to wear away, and he's freaking out, realizing he's probably gonna die. And then eventually he gets the signal from Fushiguro. One of the demon dogs gives a nice howl, and my boy Sukuna comes out, and the look of this special grade when he starts to fuck around with Sukuna is it made me so happy.
He's just like, uh-oh. Sukuna just looks so fucking nonchalant. He's just kind of like, all right, here, I'll show you what real power looks like. And he just splits the guy into a bunch of different ribbons. And he's like, all right, cool. Also, I'll take this. Gets a finger. He eats it. And then this leads into, whatchamacallit, what happens next.
Mm-hmm. Episode
in
5.
Episode 5.
Where,
which is...
Sukuna, up until this point, Itadori can be like, okay, that's enough for you. I'm going to come back. And at this point, it's not happening. And Sukuna's like, that bitch can't control me anymore. Let me go kill that Fushiguro motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. And so he ends up fighting him a lot. And it's so cool seeing Fushiguro do some of his stuff because I don't know when exactly I noticed it, but I think it was the episode previous, but I was like, I thought demon dogs was his thing. Then I realized it's not just demon dogs, it's like shadow puppets that he creates that then become, imbued with the cursed energy and become actual beings. So like, that's really awesome. But he is, of course, no match for Sukuna at all. And the only reason that Fushiguro or Yuji lives because, again, Sukuna ripped out Yuji's heart to be like, if he transforms back, he's gonna fucking die. I don't need the heart to live. He does. And then Fushiguro shows off some sort of technique or something. I don't know what the fuck it is. Perhaps you do, but, we're not gonna talk about it here. And Sukuna gets real interested in Fushiguro from that point on. He's like, okay, you know what? Let's just hold back. And then Yuji does come back on through because the words of Fushiguro bring him on back. And it's through this that, well, actually, we'll get to that in a little bit because Yuji does end up dying in this episode, quote unquote. Obviously not really, but after Sukuna sees what Fushiguro is like doing, he's like, I am interested in this, and so we'll get to that in the next episode. But also in this episode, I just want to say, the second years have a panda.
Say that one more time, please.
The second years have a panda.
Yes, that is, and Panda is the fucking goat. But there's time for that. So, yeah, Sukuna freaking whoops Fushiguro's ass. And this is it's also a bit of an emotional episode because we find out like why is it that Fushiguro saved Itadori when he had no connection to him, and we realize that like Fushiguro actually really does care about Itadori. And yeah, Sukuna ripped out Itadori's heart, and Itadori ends up being able to come back, and he ends up dying. He actually freaking dies, and it's really emotional. Like I mean, I assumed he was going to be coming back because he's the main character of the show, but it still was an emotional way to do it. I think handled very well. But something that's important at the end of this episode is we find out the first year's handling the special grade was a setup. You find out that everything was set up so that the first years would have to handle the special grade, and hopefully Yuji would die, and it would look like it was accidental and not on purpose, because Gojo explains that there were some higher ups that were very mad at the decision to keep Itadori alive.
Right, yeah. And he's just like, okay, that's kind of sucky, but he kind of screws them over a little bit later on. Or not screws them over, but just is like, yeah, whatever. Then we get to, whatchamacallit, episode 6. I'm going to try and get through this a little bit quicker because this turned into a long boy. Episode 6 is where Yuji ends up making a pact with Sukuna. He's on the morgue table because he's kind of dead, and then Sukuna's just like, hey, I can bring you back, but you have to make a pact with me. You switch out with me whenever I ask. I won't kill anyone, I won't hurt anyone, but you have to do it whenever I say, pineapple or whatever the fuck, and you're going to forget we made this pact. And Yuji's just like, why would I do that? And he's like, all right, fine, if you can beat me in a fight, there won't be anything, but if I win, we do my thing. And he's like, all right, cool, and then fucking Sukuna just chops his fucking head off in his, like, spiritual plane area, and then Yuji wakes back up because now he's alive again, and he doesn't remember the pact at all. So that was kind of just like, what the fuck? Then we get to, Fushiguro telling the bad news to, what's her name? Nobara. And that part, I was just kind of like, oh, ouch, this kind of sting. And it also kind of sucks because it's like, it's not even true anymore. It's like, he's alive, but they don't fucking know. And this is also the episode where we get all the shonen references because Goju brings him downstairs to watch the movies and try and work on his spiritual presser. His cursed energy output. And we get to see all the different, like, the Dragon Ball and the Bleach and the Naruto references and all that sort of crap. And so that I just find really funny.
Yeah, having Itadori come back to life, and I thought it was pretty funny. Him just kind of like sitting up on the morgue table was fucking hilarious. And he makes that deal with Sukuna.
I'm alive now.
And that deal with Sukuna, I was like, oh man, I'm like, that's not going to go well. Especially the fact that he's like, you're not going to remember we made this deal. I was like, oh, fuck Itadori. I'm like, that is asking for trouble. And yeah, this is where the training begins. It's like, okay, Gojo's like, we're going to keep it a secret you're alive, and I'm going to train you and make you a tough motherfucker. And at the end of this episode, we see that some higher level curses that can talk and are almost sentient, sentient in the fact of like they're intelligent, I guess, they're working with somebody. We don't really know who it is. He's a Aizen looking motherfucker, and they're at this like restaurant and they're talking about this plan that they need to do, and there ends up being this like. They end up like setting fire to like all these people in this restaurant, and it's kind of creepy and kind of weird, and you're like, what the hell is all this? And at the end of this episode, it's funny, I have written down Kakashi is attacked because at this point I hadn't learned Gojo's name. But Gojo's driving back with Ijichi, who is kind of like he's one of the faculty there. He's kind of like a secretary. And Gojo's like, okay, yeah, just leave me here. I have something I need to take care of. And Ijichi's like, okay, bye. And this curse shows up that looks like somewhat of like a volcano. And that brings us into episode 7, where we see Gojo fighting, I guess, all out. Maybe not even all out, but a full-on fight for the first time.
Yeah, it's an actual fight, but he's not going all out at all. And I find it funny because it's Gojo versus Jogo. That's the name of the curse that he's fighting, the volcano head guy.
Yes.
It was I was listening to that and I was like, Gojo, Gojo, what the fuck?
There's so many similar names in this, and specifically similar to Gojo. Even like Yaga, like the fact that it's like two syllables that are like similar, like I don't even know, like it's so reflexive of each other, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna get these all mixed up. So yeah, he fights Jogo, which is like this pretty high. They have him as a unregistered special grade, and he's basically like a volcano, and he's fighting Gojo, and Gojo is beating the shit out of him. And we learn about Gojo's
Mm-hmm.
powers a lot, about how he's like, oh no, you didn't touch me. You touched the infinity between you and me. And I'm like, oh shit. Is this going to be another one of those big brain shows, like freaking the end of Gurren Lagann? And it kind of is. Specifically with Gojo, it is. And he ends up beating the shit out of Jogo. And in the matter of like 10 seconds, he brings Itadori back. He's like, okay, Itadori, I'm going to teach you about domain expansion. And Itadori's like, how the fuck did I get here, Gojo? I was watching a movie. And we see the domain expansion of Jogo, which is like, it's like this lava realm. It's basically Lava Girl on steroids. And you're like, holy shit, this dude's strong as fuck. And Gojo's like, okay, Itadori, one way to beat a domain is to use your own. And it happened a lot earlier than I thought it was going to be, but we get the eye reveal, and he lifts up his his blindfold, and he has these crystal clear blue eyes, and he's like, domain expansion, infinity domain. And I can't explain what happened after this.
It's just like you're witnessing all of space and time appearing in front of you, and then you fucking die.
Yes, you instead of it's kind of, I feel like it's a little bit like talking about psychedelics, where it's like people believe that like our normal everyday experience, we block out a lot of stimuli in order to, only experience the stimuli that we need to survive. And then when you're on something like psychedelic, you're kind of like, a lot of those blinders are brought down, and you're experiencing more. So I believe that's kind of similar to what Gojo's domain is. He's like, you're experiencing everything and you can't do anything, and he just fucks up Jogo. But before he can do that, this other fucking unregistered special grade shows up, does his flower magic, and takes Jogo's head and is like, yeet.
Bye-bye. Gonna take this guy and go. Yeah, and so I was like, okay, cool. So we're probably gonna get to see Jogo again. Even though I didn't really get that attached to him, I was just like, interesting. So they're keeping him alive for right now. And the fact that the flower stuff kind of took him off guard, I was like, interesting. So he's not all powerful, even though he very easily comes off that way.
Yeah.
And then we get the introduction at the end of all of that to another character who is a curse. Whatchamacallit? Mahito, I think, is what they call him. And I'm just like, who is this? Because they have a very prominent part in the OP with all the animation stuff passing by, and I'm just like, you are important. I will remember you for later.
Yes. Mojito kind of just gets an introduction in this first part, but
yeah, just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then we move on to episode 8, which I think is it kind of just like resets stuff. Like, it gets to a different point.
It's a reset.
It's kind of just like, yeah. So it's like you're meeting up with whatchamacallit, Fushiguro and Nobara and some other like the second year students and stuff like that, because then you're introduced to the Kyoto Jujutsu sorcerers, who are Toto, who you're introduced to through him saying that he likes tall women with big asses, and whoever the other woman is, who's like the sister of one of the other students here. I don't even remember her fucking name. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. This episode I was just kind of like, whatever. It was fine. I like the fight between Toto and Fushiguro, at least how it looked. I think the reason it was instigated is stupid, but I think that's the point, because they're trying to get across what kind of person Toto is.
Yeah, that's basically it. And this is it's surprising. The 8 episodes are kind of reset episodes. It's the way that it's set up. It is almost in like these 3 little arcs. And this is very much set up where it's like, okay, we handled that special grade and that whole volcano dude. Now let's get back to this whole exchange event that we mentioned in one of the earlier episodes. And so we meet the Kyoto students. Toto is this big, tough motherfucker, and he likes his women. It's important. He's a bit of a blockhead where you're like, oh my god, not this motherfucker. It's almost like the stereotype where you're like, oh boy, he's a meathead. And then Mai is this like, I don't know, kind of like sleazy bitch who like just like don't fuck with me. And you're like, okay, so the Kyoto students, not very nice. And they have a fight when they're not supposed to. And you're like, okay, where's this going? What was the point of this? Aren't they just going to have a competition later on in the show? And it gets cut short. They're like, hey, stop it. We shouldn't be doing this. And they're like, okay, whatever. I'll go get my jacket. It's fine. I was just having fun. But more importantly in this episode that I find interesting is that Gojo has a nice little sit down with the Kyoto School's principal. And he's like, hey, Principal Gakuganji, how you doing, old man? Let's have a talk. So I know that you probably had a hand in trying to kill Itadori, or you killed him. I'm not saying anything yet. Now let me tell you something. Don't fuck with me, because I will murder you. Okay, bye.
And the other principal's assistant, who's just this like younger girl, is just like, sir, I need to go out there and do something. And she goes out and she's just like, holy fucking shit, that was Goju. Oh my god.
Yeah, Miwa, that's Miwa. Miwa's fucking a goofball. On the outside, she's like, don't talk to him like that. But on the inside, she's like, oh my god, he's so sexy.
Which, I mean, hey, she's not wrong. She's not wrong.
Exactly. And that's where 1 through 8 ends. And Joe, how are you feeling about this show so far, 1 through 8?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm not feeling like super fucking hyped for like the rest of it. There are definitely some really strong high points. Like, again, most of the action choreography, pretty great. The fact that this is kind of like a distillation of so many different shonen from the past, it's really cool being able to go through all these different things and not have to wait, like, 50 episodes to get payoffs for certain things, like the fact that we got to see under Goju's but blindfold immediately, or not immediately, but like within the first like 7 episodes. I was like, interesting. Like, it doesn't really matter that he don't see his eyes. Like, who the fuck cares? It's just a cool thing that he does, I guess. But like the fact that you just get to go through all this different stuff, it's cool to be able to go through this stuff at like a brisker pace, It's like what I was saying with Bleach earlier, where I was like, if they remade Bleach and they took out all the filler stuff and like tightened it up a little bit and made it so it was like more of like a modern, and like it's modern enough, but I was just thinking like, fix maybe some pacing issues and get rid of all the unnecessary filler crap, I think it would be a significantly better series and it'd be easier to watch. And this feels something like that.
Yeah, okay. I'm liking what I'm hearing, and I was feeling the same way. And we got a lot of ground to cover. That's all I'm gonna say. There's a lot to get done in the next 16 episodes. And the one question I will ask you at the end, at the very last end of this kind of 3-part series is, we brought up that it's very apparent that this show wears its influences on its sleeves. And there's a fine line between doing that and it working and doing that and it really not working. So, Joe, at the end, I'm going to want to know your final thoughts on, was it a little too much? Was it perfect? Was it, you don't really know how you feel, all right?
Right, okay.
All right,
I got you. But we'll save that for the end of part trace. So, Joe, anything you have left to close out this episode?
Watch this show. Go. Do it now. Don't question it. Stay up late. Call out of work tomorrow. Just watch it all.
That top tier recommendation, especially from you, Joe. All right, so everyone, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, all the usual YouTube bullshittery. Watch Jujutsu Kaisen. It's pretty damn great. I'm very much looking forward to the next 16 episodes. I'll probably breeze through all of those in the next couple of days just because I'm super fucking hyped about it now. And yeah, with that being said, everyone, we'll love you, we'll leave you, and goodbye.